Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Steve Slattery. Yeah. Happy St. Pat's. I saw the river in Chicago's been dyed green. We have that story in the newsletter today. Very cool stuff. And I saw a lot of people around this weekend who were getting an early jump on St. Patrick's Day. My friends at Parks Casino, thank you to all of you. They've got it all: action, excitement, headline, entertainment. And this is pretty cool at Parks. Every Sunday, in March through May, meaning now through May, you can check out the Sunday social in the beer garden at Parks Casino with sing along boozy brunches. Who's not up for that? Dueling pianos and special events like Cosmos with Candace Bushnell. That's going to be on April 6th, an evening of laughs and chats and lots more with the author of Sex in the City. I think that sounds like a great opportunity and reminiscent of what I did at Parks with Stories and Cigars with Smerconish. I think we have to do another one of those. That was so much fun. Grab your friends and check out the beer garden at Parks Casino for the ultimate Sunday social vibes right in suburban Philly, 90 minutes from New York, so close to anywhere in New Jersey. Probably the closest action for live table games, even for New Jersey, as compared to down the shore. Think about that. The Long Island Medium is coming. Teresa Caputo, the hilarious Joe Gatto from Impractical Jokers, comedian Ron White, the Isley Brothers, the comedy duo of Chad Daniels and Kelsey Cook from Pretend Problems podcast. Matt Frazier is coming. Larry the Cable Guy, Trevor Wallace, Norm MacDonald, and wait for it, Australian Pink Floyd. What more do I need to say? ParksCasino.com for all the tickets. This is how you win. You got to be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So before I discuss today's poll question at Smerconish.com, I love doing this on a Monday of just sort of recapping what has transpired since we were last together. And on Friday, we had just a tick under 30,000 votes on the poll question of the day, which asked, and I talked about it here on POTUS on Friday, and I talked about it on Saturday with JoJo from Jers, who has a big social media platform, Gavin Newsom, and the podcast where he has hosted Michael Savage and Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon. And the question that I asked on Friday, is he helping or hurting his presidential ambitions? And neither, meaning neither helping nor hurting, just barely edged out that he's helping. So it was neither followed by helping, followed by hurting relative to Gavin Newsom. And I said here on Friday that I think he's cast himself as being, an anthropologist like Jane Goodall on an exploration of just trying to understand what makes these Republicans tick. What he's really doing is launching a podcast trying to elevate his visibility with an eye toward distinguishing himself from any 2028 Democratic candidates. And in that regard, he's being successful. Michelle Obama announced her podcast last week as well. We didn't talk about that other than to note that it had launched. Saturday, we were just a hair under 50,000 votes. I really enjoyed delivering the commentary that I delivered on CNN on Saturday, given that we'd had conversations on POTUS about EV, electric vehicles, Elon Musk, what happened last Tuesday at the White House where President Trump was on the South Lawn with, I think there were 3 different Tesla models, and he said that he had bought an S for the staff and that he bought a Cybertruck for his granddaughter Kai. Musk lost a big share of his market value. Tesla did last week. The market had a rough week, although Friday was a better day. And I was wondering whether Trump's embrace of Elon Musk would cause Republicans to buy electric vehicles. And that was the poll question. Will Trump and Musk cause Republicans to embrace EVs? 75.05% of those who voted said no. I tried to make the point on television on CNN on Saturday that, wouldn't it be a good thing if there were more appeal to Republicans for electric vehicles and a reduction therein of carbon emissions, more chargers perhaps in rural America? I was looking to see the silver lining in all of that. Among the data points that I referred to on television on Saturday is one that says that Elon Musk is now, think about this, he's now more popular among pickup truck drivers, and I'm not thinking Ford electric, I'm thinking conventional pickup truck drivers, And those who drive gas-fueled vehicles generally, he's more popular with that group than he is with those who purchase electric vehicles. So there's been this complete shift in terms of those who are, wanting to purchase a Tesla. Is that going to change? It remains to be seen. It remains to be seen. Then yesterday, hat tip to my friend Shane Inspector, because it was his suggested question. Agree or disagree? The Trump administration's spending cuts are mostly justifiable in light of our $36 trillion national debt. Got a big debt, $36 trillion. Viewed through that lens, are those Trump administration spending cuts mostly justifiable? 76.47% said no. No, that's not the case. The debt can be what the debt is, and still we're not going to, rationalize or normalize the Doge approach. 35,035 voted. 35035 voted on Sunday. Okay, so let's get now to the Monday poll question. And I think I would explain it this way. We are at the midway point of Trump's first 100 days. In fact, we're a little beyond now the midway point of the first 100 days, which is a barometer by which, we routinely look at American presidents and how they're doing early on in their administrations. By the way, this reminds me, if you are a lawyer in need of CLE credits, and of course, those of us who are lawyers, we all need CLE, our continuing legal education requirement credits for the non-lawyers. I am moderating what is going to be a fabulous CLE, one where your eyes will not glaze over, on Tuesday, May 13. And the ABA will give you credit. It didn't used to be like this in any state. So look in my social media, circle the date. It's the afternoon of Tuesday, May 13. I've got an all-star panel. All viewpoints will be represented and some real characters. And that comes at the conclusion, which lets me know I'm about 50 days away from that panel discussion, which lets me know, that I got to get ready for that CLE, right? Anyway, so how are Trump's numbers? At, let's say, the midway point of the first 100 days, how's he doing? My answer is, he's about where you'd expect him to be, because for half the population, it's a 5-alarm fire. It's worse than they ever anticipated. It's all their fears of Project 2025 coming through. And for others, it's, wow, he's actually doing what we were hoping he would do. Compared to other presidents who are just beginning their term in office, his numbers are terrible. So if you look 50 days in to any of the recent American presidents, Trump is lagging behind. But compared to Trump's own numbers, historically speaking, he's actually doing pretty well. And about this, there's no debate. Democrats are in disarray, and their numbers are at a historic low. And I can point to a variety of different data sets that have come out over the course of the weekend that back up what I'm saying. There's a new CNN poll, there's a new NBC poll, and there's also some new analysis from Doug Sosnick, who has advised many members of the House and Senate and presidents, including Bill Clinton, and he'll be a guest on today's program. CNN headline, Democratic Party favorability drops to record low. And the gist of this story, well, I'll take it from the CNN lead. Among the American public overall, the Democratic Party's favorability rating stands at just 29%, a record low in CNN's polling dating back to 1992, and a drop of 20 points since January of 2021, when Trump exited his first term under the shadow of January 6. It's driven in part by relatively high levels of dissatisfaction with the Democratic Party. 63% of Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents report a favorable view of their own party, a dip from 72%. The decline comes from across ideological wings, with favorability ratings for the Democratic Party falling by 18 points. I don't want your eyes to glaze over. But bottom line is the Democratic numbers are at a historic low. Meanwhile, 79% of Republicans and Republican leaners currently take a positive view of the GOP. Everybody is dug in. And what jumped out to me in terms of the CNN analysis of the perception of Democrats is the idea of them being leaderless, something that we've talked about here on radio. In fact, I had a poll last week where I said, who should be the face of the opposition? And I gave you choices from media. I gave you choices from the House and Senate, gubernatorial mansions, and also business leaders. And in our unscientific survey, it was like Josh Shapiro, number one, Gavin Newsom, number two. Well, CNN's data says the following: Democrats who overwhelmingly consider Trump too extreme have yet to consolidate around any one party leader to serve as a counterpoint. Asked in an open-ended question, they did it open-ended. I gave you names and asked people to check a box. Name a Democratic leader they feel best reflects the core values of the party. 10% said AOC. 9% said Kamala Harris. She did terrible in our survey. 8% said Bernie. 6% said Hakeem Jeffries. 4% each said Barack Obama or Texas Representative Jasmine Crockett, Chuck Schumer at 2%. Okay, another question in terms of just looking at the data, where are we 50 plus days into the first 100 of Trump 2.0? How to oppose Donald Trump? How should Donald Trump be opposed? And again, this is CNN survey, and I'm mimicking this in my own poll question today. As to how to oppose him, there was a huge change since they last asked this question at CNN. With Republicans in control of the Congress and presidency, in general, do you think that Democrats should mainly work with Republicans and try to get some Democratic ideas into legislation, or should they mainly work to try and stop the Republican agenda? My answer, or my reworded version of that, was to say, which should the Democratic Party prioritize? Collaborate or seek to block? And there was a huge decline in the numbers in CNN's survey on this exact point, because they found that, historically speaking, the numbers were favorable toward collaborating with Trump. And now people just want him opposed. Democrats just want him opposed. I saw another bit of data from over the weekend. It was NBC and it was a Rorschach test. So the NBC headline on their own poll, too much data? Can I do one more? The NBC headline from their own poll: Trump faces early challenges on the economy as a united GOP backs big change. Huh? Trump faces early challenges on the economy. So that's the way that NBC characterized their poll on Trump 50 plus days in. Meanwhile, the New York Post reporting on the same data: Trump ties for highest approval he's ever had. And both are true. And both are true. NBC's headline: Trump faces early challenges on the economy. And the New York Post, looking at the same survey: Trump ties for highest approval that he's ever had. And both of them are true. It's a function or question of what do you accentuate. So go vote at Smerconish.com on my version of the CNN question, which is, in view of what I've told you, which is Republicans are standing firm with Trump. Democrats are standing firm in opposition to Trump. Historically viewed, Trump's numbers are terrible. Historically viewed relative to Trump, he's doing just fine. There's not been an erosion among Republicans of Trump's support. So given that Republicans control the Senate, they control the White House, and just by a smidge have the U.S. House of Representatives, what ought to be the posture of Democrats? Collaboration, or should they seek to block as best they can anything that comes out of the Trump White House? Go vote at Smerconish.com on that, which is today's poll question. One other data point that I referenced Doug Sosnick, and I think this is really interesting and speaks to the big picture of how entrenched everybody is. which is a big subject in the Mingle movie that I break down. It has to do with landslide counties. Remember, we take the census every 10 years. We redraw congressional and state legislative boundary lines, but county boundary lines are fixed. And there are roughly 3,000 counties in the United States. If you go back to 1980, when it was Carter against Reagan, that year there were only 391 landslide counties. By 2020, the number had grown to 1,726, approaching 2/3. And as Doug Sosnick has in his data set that he'll be discussing on radio with me today, second hour of the program, now we are at 80.2% of counties that are landslide. We don't change the boundary lines of our counties. So something is going on out there where we are moving to live among the like-minded, or there's a groupthink that takes hold of a particular community. Say it more simply, Michael. Okay, 3,000 counties, go back to the 1980 election, and only 391 of them are landslides. In the most recent election, the number was 2,496, where counties were won by one candidate by a margin of 20 or more percentage points. That's where we are. What accounts for that? Chances are you are living in a county that was not only won, but won decidedly by one candidate or the other. 80+% of counties, landslide counties in the most recent election. And nothing, the weave is now concluded, and nothing seems to have changed that in the first 50 days of the Trump 2.0 term. We could run this election tomorrow, Trump v. Harris, Trump v. fill in the blank, and we would get the same result. Okay, go vote at Smerconish.com. Go vote on today's poll question: collaboration or total opposition? What should be the Democratic response? What should be the Democratic response? Please like and subscribe. Set yourself up for notifications. You've watched the Mingle movie, I hope. Post a comment in social media, and please turn on a friend. This weekend was a great opportunity for a lot of people to watch it. I know many did. Many reached out for me, people who I don't know, some people who I do know, and it continues to get great reviews. Makes me proud. Have a great day.